some openings in those sewers, then we line them to make sure that they are better. And that's going to take a while, but it's really, really important to this town, especially with our proximity to the lake. I want to tell you about a couple of things that I ran into over this past week. Scott, myself, and our city clerk went to Des Moines for the League of Cities. I went to a meeting sponsored by RDG. Probably later on, Lori will talk to you about our Great Places grant and what we're doing with RDG as far as signage and 3 Stars Park in the surf area. But their gentlemen there were talking to us about communities in the state of Iowa. And yeah, there are plenty of us gray hairs around anymore. In fact, Iowa ranks, I think, in the top 5 of people that are over 80. I'm not there yet. I mean, that's, I don't know if that's a good thing to say or not. But the other end of the scale, what we term millennials from age 15 to 34, I believe that's the range now. They have a different outlook on life. And when you're planning for a community, and that's all of us in this room, you have to be aware of all those different age groups. And what are they looking for in life? And the statistics that RDG folks had on that particular day were that the millennials that are out in the world today, and Chris knows full well about this, having just hired a whole bunch of them, over 60% are renting and want to rent. And what do we have in this community for millennials who want to rent and who are in perhaps the professional world or business world or whatever world they're in? Do we have enough of them? I know we have enough for us gray hairs. You take the garden apartments, I don't know what the correct name is, Lake Plaza apartments, Lincoln School apartments. We have a number of twin homes around that are within walking distance of downtown. That's what the people my age and older would like to have. But what do we have for those millennials here? 58% of them are entrepreneurs. A great number of them look first, not for a job, but where they want to live. And what does that community have for them and their family? Stop and think of the age group. What do we have? No, we don't have oceans, and we don't have mountains, but what do we have? And that's a part of our planet. A great many of them work out of their homes for their jobs. IT is big, folks, whether us old guys want to believe that or not. It's big in today's day and age. And we have to be aware of that and be aware that these young people know more about it than some of us. I know Mr. Coffey's going out to the middle school this afternoon to make that school connection, which, thanks to Mr. G, we finally have a connection with the school that I think is going very, very well. And I was out there yesterday in this one particular class, and they told me that Mr. Coffey was coming today, and that's part of the connection that we were missing in the past, and I think we're slowly catching up there. Integral part of our community. And for those of you that don't know much about our school system, get out there and see some of the things that our young people are doing, and not just athletic activities, but music, drama, speech, all of that stuff. It's good to know what our young people are doing, and I'm sure Mr. G will talk about that later. Some of the things that are going on downtown, you probably saw most recently, where we are not accepting the only bid that we had for the sidewalk. We were hoping that there'd be the sidewalk from the boat ramp up to North 8th. We were hoping there would be quite a few, but I can understand the construction business right now, just look out the door today. They are way, way, way behind on a lot of areas. And so we're going to rebid that over the winter in hopes that we can get a few maybe better bids that are within the budget for that particular area. We were about 30% over what we thought it would be. And so it's just good fiscal management to do what we have done there. We are going to do some, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, porous paving, that's the correct word, in front of the golf course. And keep in mind, a few years back, the golf course was struggling. The city owns that property now, but it's run by a nonprofit, and they're doing very, very, very well out there. Very proud of Mike Oyman, very proud of Jeremy Amison. Wonderful guys to run that. But we're doing the porous paving out in front. Once again, there's a major filter box on North Shore right there, so that everything comes off, goes through that filter box prior to going into the lake. We had some great help from our Clear Project coordinator back there, Jim Shawley. And thanks, Jim, for coming and joining this community. We really need you, and you are doing a wonderful job. And that's where, folks, that lake out there is gold. That lake is gold. We have already put upwards of $23 million into it over the last 10 to 15 years. And we need to continue to maintain that ad infinitum. There is no end. That makes this town go. The other thing that I do want to touch upon before I sit down, two things really. If you haven't noticed, we have a new chief of police. He's been here a year now, Chief Pete Roth, great guy. We just recently hired, he's been here 1 month now, Captain Mike Colby, out of the Clyde Department in Des Moines. Another great guy, terribly young, but he's really, really good at what he does. And we are very, very pleased to have both of those guys with us. That department, you talk about IT, just open the trunks or open the back of their cars, and you are amazed. And then to listen to those guys talk about what we do have, and more importantly, what we don't have and need to have. We are no longer Mayberry RFD. Aunt Pete has come around in the afternoon and delivered donuts to our police force. We've grown up, and that's really, really good, I think. Last but not least, I want to congratulate the Chamber for a fabulous, fabulous summer. Tim, Trish, Libby, where's Libby? She's not there, she is full of it. And dear Patsy, whose voice we hear when we call down there all the time, and the other volunteers that are there too. It's, weekend, I think Gail was there and other people. But they have done just a fabulous job once again this summer. Everybody says, hey, Crabb, you've got something going on in that park every weekend. Yeah, that's what we're all about. If we don't, there's something wrong with this town. We have to have that. That's why we're called a tourism type of town. I can talk for hours on this. Anyway, thanks for being here. Thanks for doing what you people do to make this the best town in North Central Iowa. Appreciate that very much.
Thank you, and thank you for bringing us up to speed on all of these projects, because it's easy to miss the stories that are in the paper sometimes and know what's really going on around us. So it's important that we're all diligent in helping the city to tell the story as well. I'm also honored to have Chris Van Norman here this morning with us. He's from McKesson. He's their Director of Operations, and he is going to bring us up to speed. There he is. I saw him earlier on what's going on out there. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So it's interesting with the mayor talking about the festivals and everything. Like probably a month ago, my wife asked me, like, when do all the festivals end? Like, when is the first weekend we don't have to go to one? So now it's kind of come to an end, and then of course, we've got the deluge that's been hitting us. But yeah, it's been a great summer, and this is actually our first summer that our family spent out here, so it's been really nice. And 4th of July is everything that everyone says it's going to be, and just pretty remarkable of what this town turned into over that time frame. But so here to talk to you a little bit about how McKesson's doing. I've been here as McKesson's first Clear Lake employee for right about a year now, and we're up to 165 people. So we've hired 164 past me. And really when I talk to people about McKesson, or people ask me questions from the community about McKesson, the first question I typically ask is how's hiring going? So I think that kind of tells the impact McKesson has with the community in terms of jobs and paychecks and how that money is reinvested back in the community. And above and beyond that, the people that have come into the Clear Lake Mason City area from other areas, we probably have close to 20 people so far that have come from other areas, with probably about maybe 5 or 10 more people still left to come out here. So hopefully that has done good things for the economy. I know we spend a hell of a lot of money on food and going out to restaurants and really just supporting hopefully Clear Lake and the Mason City area as best we can with what we can do with the amount of people and business and visitors. Just last week we had about 20 people from our corporate office come out here, and we had dinner here one night. We went to Lady of the Lake. One afternoon we ate at Prime and Wine. We got lunches and from Cabin Coffee and things like that. So it's all the different things that hopefully McKesson is helping kind of drive interest and help drive the economy, not just kind of create those jobs for those people that we have. But we're up to 165 people. We are growing rapidly right now as we're bringing on new business. Just this week alone, we brought on about 400 new accounts from the state of Iowa. So we're now doing the business around Des Moines, southern part of the state, the western part of the state. We have a hub in Des Moines and a hub in Fort Dodge, and those are the ones we brought on this week. And that has gone really well. Of those 165 people, 43 of them have started in the last 6 weeks. So definitely growing rapidly. We've had orientation groups of 20 people, and we manage 20 brand new people in the building at one given time. It's a pretty remarkable feat, and at the same time bring on new business. So that has gone really well. I think we've hired excellent people. I can't say enough about the labor force that kind of exists in this area, and your friends and children and relatives and all that stuff. There's good hard workers here in northern Iowa, and not to kind of sit up here and say anything that you don't know, but it's something you should all be very proud of. And maybe something you take for granted. Just the last 10 years, I've managed distribution centers in Chicago and Detroit. They would give their left pinky to have half of the dedication and drive and the willingness to want to do a good job and come to work every day and support their business and want to do a good job, not because they have to, because they want to. And I think we see that with this workforce in northern Iowa, and it's something to be very proud of. And it's made us very fortunate to manage that building there, and it's led to the most successful startup that McKesson has ever had. The previous 3 times McKesson has opened new buildings like this, quite frankly, it didn't go so well. It's not easy to open buildings like this. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of components. Hiring 200 people in a pretty tough environment in terms of complexity of how our business is. And we're shipping out some pharmaceuticals that could be $35,000 a bottle. And to make a mistake or have a new hire maybe not know what they're doing, it takes people to get up to speed. And really from every benchmark, whether it's on-time deliveries or accurate orders or inventory accuracies or productivity, this building in Clear Lake is beating any other benchmark that any other McKesson distribution center has started up since we started really building these rapidly about 10 years ago. So that says a lot about the community, and it says a lot about the people we've hired and what we've been able to do here. So I guess I thank you for having good friends and relatives and children. That if you know people that work for McKesson, they're all doing a fantastic job. Since we've hired the 165, we've had one person quit, and that was from a family medical issue. So that's a pretty good turnover rate here early on, and I think that is a testament to the people we hired, but also how McKesson's ideals and values and how we treat our employees and treat people with respect and show them our appreciation for what they do, I think goes a long way to keep good people and make sure that they feel that they're engaged and that they're appreciated. So hopefully you're hearing that also out in the community of the people that you know that work for McKesson. So we're up to 165. We're going to finish, it looks like, around 200. A lot of that depends on how the building kind of does. And what I mean by that is we've built kind of a building that we don't necessarily know how efficient it's going to be yet. If the building is more efficient than we maybe initially expected, then we may have to hire less people. If it's less efficient, then we hire more people. But we know the business that's coming into the building. It's just then staffing to that business as we bring additional business on. So, we actually this Saturday have another interview summit. We're interviewing 50 more people, hoping to hire another 20 out of that group. And we have 7 more starting next week. So we're at least going to hire 27 more, but I think it's going to be closer to 40 to 50 when it's all said and done. So we're continuing to get at it there. As I mentioned, we brought on new business this week. That new business, let's see, it's the Des Moines area, Ames area, kind of western Iowa, Fort Dodge. And then already from the last business we brought on, we're doing all of North Dakota and the Twin Cities we're doing right now and the western part of Minnesota. We actually don't do deliveries to local businesses here yet. That will start in December. So whether you go to Walmart or Hy-Vee drugstore or Thrifty White or the local Payless here, those are all McKesson customers. And right now, if you go to those stores to get your prescriptions filled, that comes from our building in La Crosse. And that's the one that's going to close in 2 phases. First phase being in December, the second phase being in March. And so starting like December 5th, if you get your prescriptions at one of those stores, that prescription will come out of this local building. So it's kind of neat. I've always thought it was really neat that the bottle I pick up when I get a prescription, or my family gets a prescription, is maybe the same bottle I walked past the day earlier in the warehouse. And you'll know that that prescription that you get is the prescription that comes from that building. So pretty much we have this market saturated in terms of our business. The only, I guess there's a few, but I think the major one that you could rest assured you won't get your prescriptions from McKesson is Walgreens. Walgreens is a quarter owner of our major competitor. So there's no CEO of Walgreens here today, is there? So if you get your prescription at Walgreens, it's incumbent on everyone in Clear Lake to transfer it over to one of those other stores. I always tell our employees, like, hey, it's like working for Southwest but flying United all the time. You don't go to Walgreens. But I did have to go once. I had a dog that was sick years ago, and that was the only place that had the prescription. So I have gone to Walgreens before. And being from Chicago, that's Walgreens headquarters. There's Walgreens across the street from other Walgreens there. It's kind of ridiculous. But all those other stores will be local McKesson service accounts. So it's pretty neat for the McKesson to have the community as saturated as it is with our customers. And those customers get 5-day-a-week deliveries pretty much 52 weeks out of the year. So every single night, the people that work there are processing orders to make deliveries to those pharmacies in the morning. That's when we're going to a pharmacy and they say, well, I don't have that, but I'll have it tomorrow. That's what's happening. They're putting in their order. We're shipping that order overnight. Our night shift starts at 6 p.m. and they're finishing up at 2, 3 in the morning. And those trucks go on the road and deliver to all those pharmacies. So for you to get that prescription the next day. So pretty neat how we're going to be part of the community from that angle as well here, starting in December. So I wanted to give a few kind of statistics of the building over there, which is, I think, kind of neat. So right now there's $150 million in inventory in that building, and we're on our way to about $350 million. So that's a lot of money in that building, and we right now service 1,000 customers on our way to 2,500 customers. So I mentioned those kind of big box retailers, the Walmarts of the world, the Hy-Vees of the world, Costco's, CVS's, those are all McKesson customers. But we also have a really deep presence in hospital pharmacies, so inpatient pharmacies and outpatient pharmacies at hospitals. Remember going for a surgery or there at the pharmacy, and the nurse kind of comes and brings your pills, so that comes from a pharmacy inside the hospital. And so we deliver the drugs to those pharmacies there as well. And the hospitals that we have out of this building that are large customers, mostly out of the Twin Cities area. I don't know if everybody knows, but that Twin Cities area is one of the best medical pockets in the whole country. And then throw Mayo in there, you know, that makes Minnesota one of the best healthcare states in the country from just treating healthcare. Mayo's not our customer, but we do have Allina Health, Fairview Health, and Health Partners. If you ever heard of those up in the Twin Cities areas that are very large customers of ours that we service out of this building here today. And then also McKesson, including our building, is the sole source distributor for pharmaceuticals for the VA. So any veteran that you know, or if you're a veteran that gets a prescription via mail order or a VA hospital or an Indian reservation or any other entity that's associated with the government from the veterans that gets their pharmaceuticals, every bottle of that comes from McKesson without exception. So, so our building here does the VA in Des Moines we just took on. We do the VA in the Twin Cities and some Indian reservations in the Dakotas. And then the other bit large VA is the VA in Omaha we'll be bringing on here soon as well. So that's pretty neat. And then our one of our other largest customers in Iowa is University of Iowa Health System. So come December, we'll be servicing University of Iowa. So if you know anyone who's gone down there or works down there, that's awesome. McKesson account that we'll be taking over from across in December. And then lastly, we service independent pharmacies as well. So across the whole country, we have about 20,000 independent pharmacies that we service, but out of our building, we have about 600. The franchise that McKesson kind of helps independent pharmacies stay viable and help market them and things like that, that's called Health Mart. And the Health Mart of the Year was in Iowa this year, and that's out of 5,000 stores. That one was voted, I forget what town it is, but it's in more kind of southern Iowa, and the governor visited there recently, and the governor came to visit us, and so he's really connected to what McKesson's doing and likes that independent pharmacies are also helped. So it's, if you go to an independent pharmacy, a lot of those are serviced out of McKesson. That building that we have over there also does about $10 million a day in sales, up to $20 million a day is where we'll kind of end up. So when that building's all said and done, it'll be $5 billion a year in sales of what we sell. And that it will at that time be the largest McKesson pharmaceutical distributor in terms of sales in the country. And I don't know how that stacks up against a competitor, but it could be that that building does more pharmaceutical sales than any other building in the country. So it will be our largest distribution center in terms of volume and sales that we have in our entire network. And that's saying a lot given, you know, the type of business we have across the country. So it's pretty neat what we have there. And McKesson, I think everybody knows, kind of jumped up to Fortune 5 this year. So that building alone is a Fortune 300 company. If you just take the sales out of that building, so it's pretty awe-inspiring just the amount of volume and what comes out of there. I mentioned next month we're taking on the remaining business from Omaha, so our Omaha building will be closing in October. So at that point we'll be doing most of Nebraska, most of South Dakota, and then it's in the winter we're taking on the rest of Iowa, and then early spring we'll take on most of Wisconsin. So we're almost done. We're about 50% way through our launch. It's scheduled for a year, and we're about 6 months into it. And as I mentioned, everything's gone fantastic with everything we've done there. And then lastly, I mentioned we're doing interviews this Saturday, but before the interviews, we're doing something kind of neat. Every year, we do a community days across all of McKesson. We have it on the same day across every single distribution center. And the charity that we've had the last 4 or 5 years is called Giving Comfort, which we build comfort kits for cancer patients. So low-income patients or patients that maybe don't have family support that we build a kit for. So their first chemotherapy treatment, they get like a hope chest and a blanket and some other things that just help them through the treatment. And this year, as well as what we've done so far during orientation, all those cancer kits go to the Mercy in Mason City. So it's pretty neat charity. And so this Saturday we have about 175 employees and family members coming to build those cancer kits this weekend. So pretty nice thing that we do. hopefully as we kind of get past this launch, we'll get much more involved in, we have charity committees at the DC, and just trying to figure out what ways and what committees and what charities and what other things we could get involved in. And as we kind of ramp down from this launch, we can start really getting integrated much more than we have to this point. But we've been awfully busy out there, and things are going really well. But lastly, I want to thank you all and thank the community for the continued support that we're seeing out there in the community. It's just been great. It's made my job and everybody else's job very easy to make it, as I mentioned, the most successful launch McKesson ever had. So couldn't have done it without the support of the mayor and the town and the county and really the state, even down to the governor level and Speaker Upmeyer and everyone who's been involved. It still continues to be fantastic and helps us do our job and make things really smooth and helps me sleep at night. So except for the storms lately, but things are going really well. So I don't know, do I take questions, Tim, or
Sure.
yeah, any questions for me? No. All right.
I always say when there's no questions, you did an amazing presentation. Well, thank you, Chris. We sure appreciate the updates, and I think I can speak on behalf of the entire chamber that we are so thrilled to have you guys here, and we hope to continue our partnerships going down the road. Well, in our next category of new employees and promotions, before I start and bring the first group up, I just wanted to remind anybody that walked in last and didn't realize there's coffee and treats in the back, please don't hesitate to get up and walk back and get those. And if there's somebody that hasn't been here before, there's restrooms around the corner from the back room as well. There's a 2-minute time slot for each business, and Patsy will show you the timer when you're getting close to needing to wrap up. And she really waves her arms if you really go over. It's embarrassing. No, I'm kidding. I've never done it, I swear. It's my pleasure to welcome Amy Kern and some folks from Clear Lake Bank and Trust to talk about some new things going on there.
Good morning. My name is Amy Kern. I work in Human Resources at Clear Lake Bank and Trust, and I'm actually from Clear Lake. I'm here. It's my pleasure this morning to introduce Cheryl Kurtzleben. Cheryl has worked with us at Clear Lake Bank and Trust for about 3 years now, but she recently moved from the Mason City Market to our Clear Lake office, where she is the Vice President of Residential Real Estate Lending. So Cheryl didn't know this, that she was going to be asked to say a little bit about herself. But
I do not like to publicly speak. I'm Cheryl Kurtzleben, and I do manage the residential real estate department and for all of our branches. I am now located in Clear Lake. I am a Core City native. I pretty much lived there all my life, and that's really all I have to say. I'm sorry.
well, we're really pleased to have Cheryl with us. She does an excellent job for us, and now she'll be here in Clear Lake and serving our Clear Lake market, which we're really thrilled about. So. And Pat Thompson is a new hire for us here at Clear Lake Bank and Trust. He works in our Mason City Market in our Tiffany office. He's the Assistant Vice President of Business Banking, so commercial lender by trade. He has functioned with his daughter this morning at school. He's got a large family that he's raising in Mason City, and his wife is a Mason City native. He's been in banking for many years and has lived in Mason City for quite a few years as well. So he is going to come to the next, get introduced at the next time. So how did I feel time? 11 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. And next, I would like to introduce Tim Esbeck, who is going to give us some updates from MBT.
Hey, good morning. Don't stand up. Okay, MBT Bank having a really good year. Our office was having a really good year. We had a customer appreciation picnic last Wednesday, and if you remember, that's been the only day that it hasn't rained in about 2 weeks, so it was just a perfect day. Our office is doing very well, but I'm pleased to announce that Kent Foe, after being a friendly competitor for about 20 years, he has now joined our staff. He's going to do our commercial, business, and ag, and some real estate lending. So it's my pleasure to introduce Kent Foe. Kent, tell a little bit about yourself.
Don't bring as much energy as Tim does to the room, but I'm Kent Foe. I'm a graduate of Ventura High School, down the University of Iowa State, actually. I've been in the Mason City, Clear Lake area for about the whole life, but working as a banker for 20 years with a former bank known as Bank of America. Okay. So I had the opportunity to jump on board with MBT Bank of Clear Lake. It was an opportunity of a lifetime. So I did spend 11 years in this market, 9 in Mason City, and Tim and I met, and it seemed like a dream job for me. And I'm happy to be here and to see Tim Coffee, and it's getting the candy store. I can't wait to be fully active in the community again. So appreciate it.
Thank you, Tim and Kent. Now from Country Meadow Place, Kim Boyd has some updates from their facility.
Hi, I'm Kim Boyd, I'm manager at Country Meadow Place. Country Meadow Place is an assisted living and memory care community located between Clear Lake and Mason City by the county jail and Memorial Park Cemetery. We're home to 36 apartments that home assisted living and memory care seniors. And we're proud to say for the first time we are at 100% occupancy, so we're proud of that. And we are working on a waiting list. You guys are welcome to come for tours, to see the place, come for activities anytime you want. Would like to introduce, we have a new community relations coordinator, Mary Guerin. She comes with us with an LPN license, so she gives a lot of education and goodness to that position. She works doing internal and external marketing, lunch and learns. So if you guys have any opportunities for any lunch and learns or external marketing ideas, you can contact Mary. Amber Smith comes to us from the Bondurant area. She was a resident assistant at one of our other communities. We're managed by a company called Senior Housing Management. They're located out of Cedar Rapids, and they have about 20 different communities in Iowa that they manage. She worked as a resident assistant in the Bondurant area, then came to us as a resident assistant as well, and in July we promoted her to our life enrichment coordinator. So as a life enrichment coordinator, she does activities with our residents all day long. We have our own bus that she takes the residents out on outings. So if you have any ideas for volunteers or things for activities for our seniors, you can contact Amber for that.
Thank you, and welcome Amber and Mary. And now from Thrivent, Nicole Olson has a couple of, and they just want to do face.
Yeah. Hello. I'm Nicole Olson with Thrivent Financial. If you haven't noticed, our office is on Main Avenue, and we are a not-for-profit membership organization of Christians. We help our members be wise with money so that they can live generously and support and strengthen their communities. And we're really excited as we've been growing in the last few months. We recently hired an office professional, Deb Estridge, and she lives here in Clear Lake. Unfortunately, couldn't make it this morning. And I also have a beautiful partner, Beth Nygaard, and she's here to introduce herself today.
I love it when she introduces me. I'm Beth Nygaard. I started with Thrivent 3 years ago. I'm from Lake Mills, and so we're starting to try to expand our group, and we are together have a North Iowa group, so we're expanding. I am one of those unique people that absolutely loves what I do. I love helping families plan for their financial future, but on top of that, I love that we are able to give our members tools to help with their communities, and I've been so excited to see how it's strengthened a lot of North Iowa already, and so excited to be part of this community and have enjoyed being engaged in it already this year and strengthening this community and help people use the tools to help thrive. It's a great place. I've worked all over the country, and I agree with you. There's no better place. The quality of people in North Iowa, based on everywhere I've worked in my life, over across the country, this is where it's at. So it's fantastic, and it's fantastic to work with these people and help strengthen our communities. So thank you.
Thank you, Nicole, and welcome, Deb.
Good morning. I'm Tony Conroy. I grew up here and had a big passion for banking and financial advisory and all that kind of stuff with finances. I just like numbers, I guess. I moved away, lived in Minnesota for 5 years with my wife. We moved back, wanting to raise our family in the same kind of community that we grew up in. So it's really nice to be back, be part of the community, and I really am passionate about being with First Citizens. I was at Wells Fargo for 4 years, and it seems like I got out of there just in time. So. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Under honors, awards, and recognition, I'd like to start by inviting Nate Carney from Dean Snyder Construction to come up. Nate, you look different.
Nate got stuck in Detroit for a meeting, so I'm kind of my name is Chelsea. I'm with Dean Snyder Construction. We are a general contractor, family owned and operated, based out of Clear Lake, Kentucky. I don't know what awards or recognitions. I think I'm just going to talk about some of our major projects we have going on this year. It's a really big year for us. We have two of our largest projects going on simultaneously. We are in Newell, Minnesota with Kraft Heinz at an Velveeta cheese plant, and that is about a $110 million project. And to give you an idea, our annual revenue is about $90 million. Historically, it's been about $90 million a year. So this is a big project for us. We are taking out the handy snack line. You probably know handy snacks, little crackers that dip cheese in. Taking away that and helping them implement production of 1 pound, 2 pound, 8 ounce cheese bricks. Yeah, right. Just think about cheese bricks are going away. They're back full force. So that's a big project going on for us right now. The other big project going on is, again, for Kraft Heinz at their Oscar Mayer facility in Kirksville, Missouri. This facility is Kraft Heinz's largest and highest priority project in the nation right now, so we're very honored to be hired as the general contractor for this. The Oscar Mayer plant, they do cold cuts, they call it there, and we know it as sponge meat. This is a 360,000 square foot new production facility. It's 100,000 square foot remodel and 260,000 square foot addition. And this is a $300 million project. To give you an idea how big that is, McKesson's building is about 348,000 square feet. So we're fortunate to have this opportunity with Kraft Heinz. We've been with them for about 30 years. Heinz bought them out about 2 years ago. And since then, they've trusted us with bigger projects. So we're very grateful and blessed. Our revenues will double this year as a result of those two projects alone. And we've been able to do that without making major adjustments to our workforce. We're about 200 employees and we're still about 200 employees. So we've absorbed a lot of stress, a lot of time and energy, and we're excited to hopefully continue large projects. And easily our revenues could dip back down to 90 the following year. More importantly, we want to keep our presence in North Iowa. We have a really great workforce, construction workers, superintendents, project managers in North Iowa that have families that they need to support, and we need local work. We have these big projects out of state, but we need local work to keep those guys busy so they can support their families, and we can keep a presence here and be a part of the community. So if you hear of anything, give me a call. I work in business development, and you lead.
Okay, now we'd like to bring up Megan Studer with the IOLF homes.
So as he said, I'm Megan Studer from the IOLF Home and Community Therapy Center. We're located in Mason City, just right up off 19th Street. We've been here for over 100 years, so I bet a lot of you are familiar with us. We have quite a few nice announcements. The first is that we received the 2016 Compassion Award from Hospice of North Iowa. Their board unanimously voted for us for 2 of our nurses and for our staff as a whole. So we received 3 of them. And this is for a business that provides compassionate care at the end of life. So we were really honored to receive this award. We also wanted to announce that United Way awarded us with a $10,000 grant for our handicap accessible van. So thank you, Brandy. We're really excited about that. That puts us to $39,000, just over that, and we're reaching for 60. So we had a fundraising event that was supposed to happen this Saturday, but thanks to the rain, we have postponed that now. It's an inflatable fun day, so it's for family, and we're going to move it indoors so that we don't get rained out again. So that will be on Sunday, October 9th, and it'll be at the National Guard Armory from 1 to 4. Thank you.
Now, under our next category, things of interest, I'd like to welcome Mariah Wendell from Buena Vista University. Okay, Mariah must not be here. So we'll move on to Brandy Evers with United Way.
Good morning. I am Brandy Evers with United Way of North Central Iowa, and just wanted to talk a little bit this morning about what we do and kind of our role in the community. We are a nonprofit organization based out of Mason City. We do cover an 8-county region though here in North Central Iowa. So our role in the community is to connect. We connect individuals to services, agencies to agencies, businesses to volunteer opportunities, and donors to their passions. So we're out in the community working with agencies, getting them funding. So right now is our big fall campaign. So we know we work with a lot of the businesses that are in this room to run employee campaigns. We've also sent out a large community mailing. So you may have received a letter from us, and a little bit of the reasoning why we're doing this. In North Central Iowa, 13% of the population is either at poverty or below the poverty level. And that's who you typically think about when you think United Way funding. People utilizing the food banks or homeless shelters, different things like that. So we do support some of those agencies, but we've recently found there's an even bigger population at 18%, that is our ALICE, which stands for Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed, or the working poor. So they've got a full-time job that's maybe not making ends meet, or several part-time jobs. They're working really hard. These are people we interact with on a daily basis that you may not know are utilizing some of the funding that we give to our partner agencies. So there's a really big need out there in our community. Sometimes it's our neighbors or friends that we may not realize just kind of need a little hand up in life. So if there's anything you guys can do, run an employee campaign or anything like that, just let us know. We're happy to help get you connected. Thanks.
And now with the Surf Ballroom, Morelia.
I was an add-on. Just real quick, since Mayor Crabb mentioned the Iowa Great Places Grant, it's been around for 3 years. We were actually awarded it a couple years ago. To get started, there was a project that many of you may or may not have noticed. We had replaced the marquees on the surf. That was one of the 4 projects that were included in that grant. We did it actually twice, because after we replaced them after 50 or 60 years, someone came along with a backhoe and knocked one of them down. So we got that all taken care of, and then we took a little break, and now it's come full force to do a few projects and finish those up before middle of summer next year. One of the most important ones, and the one I'm and the chamber I think are probably the most excited about, are the wayfinding signage. There's a set of, I believe, 16 in town and 8 on the highway that are going to point people in the right direction to downtown, the lake, and also to the surf ballroom. It's a little difficult for people to navigate in streets that are sometimes not the right direction. North, south, east, west. We're a little bit kitty corner on some of them. The 3 Stars Plaza, as you know, was erected back in 2011, and there was a sound system that was not completed. So that's also part of that grant. We're going to work on that, along with an interactive kiosk on the post, or the stem of it, and landscaping around the surf ballroom parking lot to include 7th Avenue North and Buddy Holly Place. If you haven't had a chance to walk around the building and haven't been here in a while, not related to Iowa Great Places, but our renovation in the lobby is complete. We replaced the carpet and also the hand stencil. We went back on some old photographs and brought those back to something that's very close to what was originally here. I think that's about it. The other change that you'll see here in the next few months, if you come to concerts, we are making a large investment into our sound and light, or just our sound and AV component of our concerts. We're going to replace our cameras, some wiring, old coax into Cat 6, Cat 5, and we're going to replace our big screen. So as you come to the concerts, you may or may not notice some of those changes. We hope you don't notice them too much, but to keep up with the, we've had a very, very busy summer this year and also last year. To keep up with some of the technical things, we are going to invest in those to keep those opportunities coming. So that was all I had. If you have any questions, you can always give me a call, or Paul. He's sitting in the back. He sits on our board of directors too. We're always happy to answer questions and go from there. Thank you.
Good morning. We have some upcoming events that we'd like to talk about. So first, Troy Fisher and Jody Hamilton will come up from Central Gardens.
Hi, I'm Jody Hamilton. I'm the executive director at Central Gardens. Central Gardens is the only public garden within a 90-mile radius of this area. We have a lot of events coming up this weekend. First one is the North Iowa Studio Tour, where we have artists there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend. I have brochures. If anyone's interested, it should be a great event. It's our first time as a stop on the studio tour. Picnics and performances. Our last one will be Sunday night at 5 o'clock. This is a chance for families to bring their picnics, lawn chairs, and listen to different performers. We've had jugglers, magicians, and a lot of musicians there. We have a sponsor, Avangrid. They're out of Oregon, and a short story about them is one of our volunteers for Fresh on Fridays is an employee there, and she would bring a big bouquet to her boss for about 3 weeks on Fridays, and finally he drove by and saw all the people there, and he said, you know, I'd like to give to Central Gardens. So we were awarded a $1,500 grant this year, and now they're looking at maybe an annual grant for the next 3 to 5 years of $1,500. They're happy about that. We have cleanup coming up, putting the gardens to bed, so to speak, for the year. And the cleanup will be October 9th and October 16th, if any of you would like to come, 3 o'clock. And we're changing our venue a little bit this winter. We will be open in our big main building, the pavilion. If any of you are interested in holiday parties or family reunions, just get a hold of us and we'll accommodate you. Thank you.
Next, we have Jennifer Pensky from Opportunity Village.
Thank you. I'm Jennifer Pinsky. I'm a development officer out at Opportunity Village, and we have a lot of exciting things always happening. And I just want to thank a lot of faces and people that have been up here speaking that have supported our mission and been involved in a lot of different ways through over the years. So I appreciate the community support for the things that we do. We just had a benefit walk and staff appreciation and community appreciation event at the gardens, or at the park downtown 2 Sundays ago, and luckily it didn't rain that day either. But it was a fabulous day. We raised over $60,000 for Opportunity Village in that one day for our walk, and that was just amazing support to continue to provide the services that we do. We continue to have events and different fundraising type things for our services because we only receive funding for about 80% of what we do, and then the rest of that needs to come from charitable giving. And so you hear me talking at different things all the time because it's just so needed for the people that we provide services for. We are in 30 different communities based out of Clear Lake here. We were started over 40 years ago, and we serve over 685 people, and we have 650 employees. So it's a large operation that we need support with. So we appreciate everybody that's helping with those things. We have a fun event coming up in December, and so it seems a little weird to be talking about stuff, but we get started in August for our Christmas event. And so that's why I'm here today to talk about that. It's the Festival of Trees, and it's partnered kind of on the same time as Christmas by the Lake with the Chamber. We do things during the day, and then the Chamber will do things in the evening, and so it's a fun weekend for us. And our first one that I want to just bring up is our 5K, and that is on a Thursday night. I know that there might be people in here that are like, yeah, I'm not a runner, not going to be there. And I understand that, but if you would take some of these back to your employees, you might have some people in there. This was an initiative started by our employees. They wanted to do this as part of the wellness that they offer. And so take some of these back. We have sponsorship availability or volunteers, but it's a lights on, it's a fun afternoon. So we hope you can join us. So thank you very much.
Next, we have Carrie Tysdell from Tri-Clear Lake.
Hi, I'm Carrie Tysdell. I'm here to talk about Tri-Clear Lake. Some of you may or may not have heard about it yet, but I'm very excited about it. It is a new chamber event that will be held June 10th, 2017 in conjunction with Take Me Back Weekend. It's kind of funny that I'm standing here to talk about it because it came about at quarterly chamber coffee meetings. The very first one, I introduced myself as a new first mate and what my day job is. I work for American Solutions for Business, but I had mentioned, I said, shameless plug, I'm also a certified triathlon coach. And Jake Capriva approached me after that meeting, and he said, well, I've always wanted to have a triathlon here in Clear Lake, and it's actually something that I've, of course, thought about as well. We have a great venue here. It's a great location for that. And so the next quarterly coffee, we met with Tim and Trish and Patsy and pitched our idea to them, and it went to the board and was approved as a chamber event. So we have an opportunity to bring a lot of people into this area. We have great sponsorship opportunities related to it. There will be a letter rolling out to the chamber first, and you'll have a few weeks to decide if you would like to take one of those sponsored spots before we open it up to everyone else. Some really good exposure. If you aren't aware, triathlon is the largest growing sport in the country right now, and I think the Olympics shed a lot of light on the sport of triathlon and helped people understand it a little bit better. If you've never seen one, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. But I tend to push people down that road. But I would definitely encourage you to volunteer or be a part of it in some way, or at the very least come watch, because they're awesome. They're super inspiring, no matter what the distance is. We're going to start with a sprint. So there's basically 4 different distances in triathlon: sprint, Olympic, half Ironman, and a full Ironman distance. So all of them are hard. So I hate it when people ask, so is it going to be a real triathlon? Yes, it's a real triathlon. It's a sprint distance triathlon. It's a 750-meter swim, a 12.4-mile bike, and a 5K. I'm over my time, but there were some people that didn't make it, so maybe I can just, okay. So it's exactly half of an Olympic distance. You can do it as an individual, you can do it as a team of 2 or 3 people, so somebody can swim, somebody can bike, somebody can run. We've got sponsors that are excited to come on board, that are going to have employees that are going to participate kind of as a team competition, that sort of thing. So it's very exciting. It's going to start at State Park Beach. The swim will be kind of a rectangle, if you will, or a half rectangle, out into the lake. You'll bike out on South Shore, past the Girl Scout camp. You'll go right at that T intersection and take a left towards Missouri, and it'll turn around and come back and go past the sanitation department when it comes back in. And you'll run out the other direction at State Park along the shoreline all the way here, actually, is where the turnaround will be, and it'll finish downtown heading right towards the lake in front of the chamber office. So it's going to be awesome. I'm a little biased, but I'm really excited about it. Spread the word. The active registration link is live for people to sign up. So please go to our Facebook page, just Tri-Clear Lake, and like it and share it, and sign up if you're thinking about it. We have a big advantage. It's only $45 through the end of the year. So we'll make a push here in November and December for people that are looking for New Year's resolutions to sign up early, and then it'll go up again in March. But we're very excited, so I'd love to talk about it if you can't tell. So if you have questions or want to chat about it, I'd love to tell you more. So keep an eye out for the sponsor letter. Thank you.
First Mates is a group in town of volunteers from local businesses that meet once a month, and then they assist the chamber with a lot of their events. So we have 4 new members right now, and we'd like to introduce them, have them come up, and then each of you speak and tell us a little bit about you. We have Amy Newton from Athletic Physical, I should have my glasses on, Physical Therapy. Louise Montiago from North Iowa Broadcasting, Sue Rasmussen from Triad Realty, and Nick Genzer from MBT. So if you guys are in the audience, if you could please come up and tell us a little bit about yourself.
We got
Start.
We're gonna go to work. Okay. My name's Amy Newton. I am employed by Athletico Physical Therapy here at Clear Lake. I joined the First Mates this year. Super excited about what Athletico can bring to the community and to the chamber. A little bit of history on Athletico. It was formerly Accelerated Rehab. Both companies out of Chicago, Illinois, and Accelerated had about 250 accelerated rehabs across the United States, and Athletico had about 90. And the 5 owners of Accelerated were about retirement age, and the 1 owner of Athletico saw the opportunity. And so he bought all of the 250 accelerated rehabs. So there's about 450 of us across the United States. We are located in Clear Lake, so we are at the corner of 8th Street in Maine, right next to Charlie Brown Daycare. There's 2 locations in Mason City. There's one in St. Ansgar and one in Forest City. So one cool thing that Athletico does provide to anyone is we offer free injury screens. So anybody is free to walk into our clinic or call us with a problem or an issue that they think they have. Willing to see them. No insurance bills, no information really taken. Just kind of, hey, can you help me with this issue? And we will let you know if we can do that. So come and see us. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Louise Montiago, and I absolutely hate talking in front of people like this, so I'm going to go fast. I work for North Iowa Broadcasting, so it's 103.7 The Fox and 98.7 Kiss Country in Mason City. We are locally owned and operated. Truly, Jim Koloff is our owner. We also have KIOW 107.3 in Forest City, KCHA in Charles City, KCCE in New Hampton, and then radio stations in the Cedar Falls area. I'm born and raised in Clear Lake, so I'm a native Clear Laker, although I'm just moved to Mason City only because it's easier with my dog. I would much rather live in Clear Lake. I have an English Springer Spaniel named Winston, and he's the best dog ever in the history of the world. And youngest of 5 kids, and that's about it. So, thanks.
My name is Sue Ransom. I was born and raised in Clear Lake. I am really excited to be a member of, I work for Triad, to be a member of First Mates because we get to welcome new businesses to the community. And it's such a great town. I get to meet, so many people. I just started and it's been a week, so I haven't really, I did one ribbon cutting so far. But I can't say hello in 2 minutes, so I'm just not going to say anything. If you'd like to stay after, I'll be happy to speak to all of you.
All right, as they say, best class, right? My name is Nick Genzer. I'm with MBT Insurance. We're actually an independent agency, which I think most people might understand. Inside the bank, it's extremely nice. I've worked as a captive agent where you're just for one company. Now we're associated with, I'm horrible, I don't know exactly, but a lot. So there's a lot of different risks that we could take on, obviously auto, home, things like that, commercial risks. Usually we always work with a company that will at least look at it, if not accept it. A little bit about myself. It says new first mate. I don't know why it says that. I've done this before. I took a venture out west. It didn't work out. I came back. I really enjoy Clear Lake. It's fun to be involved in the community. That's why I did the first mates and did it as I came back. So it's really nice to be able to work with a company like MBT that allows me to do this kind of stuff. If I need to go to a meeting, if I need to go to a first mate thing, it's INR, see if we come back. So it's great to be back in the community, be able to do this stuff. But that's a pretty cool place, so I like to be able to do stuff with it. So thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Before we conclude here, Jim, do you want to say anything at all? You're never at a loss. Okay. Just a couple of shameless chamber plugs here. We have a major event coming up Saturday, October 1, called the Harvest Fest. We still have bags available, and I've been keeping my fingers crossed and praying on my knees that the rain will bypass us, so I'm pretty sure we'll have good weather. But that's a huge event, and we did tracking on this a couple of years ago, and 20% of the several thousand people come down from southern Minnesota for this. So this really is a major tourism event too. So not to mention a lot of fun with the wine, the vendors, and the musical places that we have too. So that's Saturday, October 1. On Tuesday, October 18th, we have a really, what I think, and I've been told, a really interesting event, and it's called Clear Lake Pathway to Success. And this is a luncheon program at the Best Western, and really what it is we'll have a panel of locally owned and different types of businesses here in Clear Lake. And they will tell their kind of corporate story, what I term the mud and the stars, how they began, why they began, some of the challenges they met, and up to where they are today. And that's really interesting because one of the benefits of that type of presentation is you in the audience, if you may be encountering some of the same challenges that that particular company or individual mentioned, and either find out from the panel discussion or afterwards in talking to that individual how to solve some of your own challenges in your company. So we always get positive feedback. So that's Tuesday, October 18th, Clear Lake Pathway to Success at the Best Western. And I'm going to conclude by talking about one of our priorities that we have had at the Chamber for this year that I think over the next years to come will still be an ongoing priority. And this is what we call our school business partnership. As Mayor Crabb mentioned, the Chamber and certainly the city, we're thrilled to have this new link, if you will, in a partnership with the schools. And the schools now really, truly want the business community to come into the classroom and be an active participant in the education of our young adults. And the bottom line, folks, is this is a workforce issue. This is where you're having challenges maybe hiring either the right people or finding people to hire, period. And this is where we can make a really positive early impression on these young adults, not only of what they have right here in their backyard, but even if they decide to go off to college for 4 years or more, come back earlier instead of coming back 10 years later, and be a vibrant part of this community. So one of the things we're looking for, and we're going to be sending information out to all of our chamber members, is what we call classroom sponsors. And this will be at the high school level. We are going to try to recruit 26 classroom sponsors for the high school. And let me tell you what a classroom sponsor is.
when we mention that term sponsor, usually the dollar signs come up. This is a pure volunteer activity on the part of the business. And here's what we would require if you want to be a classroom sponsor. We would require that business to send in a representative from their business once in the fall semester and once in the spring semester, and ideally during that 2-semester time frame, bring those students to your business for a tour. So in the working with the teacher, that business sponsor certainly may discover other needs that that classroom has, and there might be a little bit of financial interaction between the teacher and the business there, but this is a pure volunteer activity that we are asking of our business community. And now with Doug on board as the new school superintendent, the arms are outreach to the business community that we need you, we want you. The chamber is kind of the interlocking link between the schools and the community and the business community. So we have what I strongly feel is an obligation to work with the schools, to work with the students, and to show the students that we have an awful lot that they didn't know about right here in their own community, and that we want them to stay here. The final thing related to that is we'll work with the schools and other groups in a collaborative basis, like the North Iowa Economic Development Corridor, in trying to educate the teachers and even the parents in college options. Because one of the things that these students find out, and unfortunately the parents find out in kind of an after-the-fact basis, is 50 to 60% of the freshmen who enroll in college won't complete that college. Yet they'll still have the college debt. Whereas other options with a huge skills gap could go to a certification program at a local community college or get an AA degree and walk out either with less debt or minimal debt and walk right into a very well-paying job. So there's a lot that we can do to kind of fill that knowledge gap, and we'll be doing that too. So you'll hear me be preaching this because, again, this is a key priority of the chamber, and I think we'll have more discussion on this as we have our board retreat next Tuesday. So before we end, I do want to mention that Carrie was the winner of, and I always have to make sure that I get this right. You were the winner of your category in the Des Moines Triathlon, is that correct? Overall winner of the Des Moines Triathlon. Okay. Story of my life. I always have ladies correcting me. So congratulations to that. And we're really excited about Tri-Clear Lake. And in part, Mason City, and it's a good program, through the chamber and now independent, they have their Blue Zone project. And that's great. But I want to send a different type of message to Clear Lake and the region here, because it's one thing to eat healthy, and we certainly want to do that. We do that in Mason City with the Blue Zone restaurants. We want to demonstrate that we have a real healthy community with activities like the triathlon, and with other activities like the bicycle blues and barbecue, and also with the walkathons that we have with Opportunity Village. So that sends a different type of message that we have not only a vibrant community. We talked about it better than food. We said, coffee, you have a year for training. Well, not so fast, Mr. Mayor. So, but anyway, we will have our fourth quarter chamber coffee just before Christmas, and we'll send out the date. And if you have any categories that fall into what we typically cover now, let us know, and we'll send information out too. So anyway, have a great, hopefully dry weekend. Thank you for coming, and thanks for all you do with me.